Hi everyone, welcome back to Creative Chaos by Malaika. Today I have a very special guest, Cory Rowe. Okay, so he is a filmmaker, a very great, award-winning filmmaker who made film and share his meaning with his films over the world. So his work is often described as quiet but powerful, genre-driven, yet deeply human. So before we dive in, I will ask, how do you personally describe the kind of stories you are drawn to telling?
Yes. First thing I just want to say thank you for having me on here. I'm really excited. But yeah, the type of stories I like to tell are from the human heart, the human connection, what brings us together as people and as a society. I feel that the more that we look introspectively at a story inside the characters is what really makes us want to watch it. So I tend to really look at inside of the introspect of the character and go from there.
Okay. So you have been in filmmaking for over almost 25 years. So what made you stay with storytelling for this long, even when the industry keeps on changing day by day?
Yeah, so the thing is for me, film has always been a passion of mine. So I will uh, probably do this for the rest of my life. I really enjoy storytelling and really kind of entertaining people. The point of a film, first and foremost, is to entertain, and so that's what my plan is to entertain people, but then also give perspective on who we are as people. And allow them to think and allow them to have conversations that are important and to be able to really connect with the audience through a screen. It's through a screen.
That sound good. Your films rely heavily on subtext, silence, psychological realism rather than exposition. When do you realize that less could actually prove say more on screen? Like short films say more than the long films.
Of the silence is to allow the audience to connect with the character, to connect with the story. It allows the character to actually also be real because not everything is always said out loud, especially in dialogue in film. Dialogue in film is typically subverting on what we really want to say. So, in a short film aspect, it is pretty important to have that subtext in there because it allows you to connect with the character in different aspects, not just because of their circumstance, but because of who they are. And allowing the silence in the scene or in the short to really kind of, showcase the emotion behind everything. A stare, you can tell when two people love each other in a film just based on the way that they look at each other and not have anything to say. So that's essentially the same thing. You can do it with all sorts of emotions.
Do you think a film can be made without an actor, without a voice? Like there are many short films which are without saying anything, and yet you can understand the meaning. Like there are even the cartoon Mr. Bean. Like he never
Mhm.
said a single thing, but yet you can understand him. So that's the magic, I guess. That's the amazing part.
Yeah, and the thing is films started as silent films, and so they were heavily relied upon, excuse me, what they're trying to express. Even though there are times a title card comes up where it shows what they're quote unquote saying, but for the most part, the silence is actually, in my opinion, better. There's a film I saw where the last scene of the film is 5 minutes, but not one word of dialogue is spoken. And you can feel the tension and you can feel, the relief, of the situation that they're in. And so to me, like I said, silence says a lot more than actually what you say.
Uh, Many filmmakers are obsessed with dialogues. What can silence do in film that words simply can't explain? Like, many films, very long films, are filled with dialogues, and silence always play a long role in the short films. So this is already you have answered about the silence. I will ask them something else, that do you direct performances more than conversation, institution, or structure?
So, uh, when it comes to monologuing, characters that monologue, there's no really issue with that except if it's on the nose, right? And so, for me, I try to lead away from that because even though, yes, it can be very powerful, the problem is that it can be very on the nose. So I try to subvert from that and try to have it where even though a character may say something, having them do something is actually, in my opinion, better for me. So I hope that answers your question.
I will ask, what's a moment on set when an actor surprised you and changed the story for the better?
So for me, what I like to do is I like to give my actors space. I like to give them room to develop the character, even though we do talk about it. We do come up with ideas together. Essentially, I let them have some type of free reins at the beginning to really kind of discover, to really kind of go into it. And so then while we're shooting, they may surprise me with something I did not even think about. So instead of someone yelling, maybe they're silent. And maybe instead of they're silent, right, they are, maybe expressing one emotion or maybe trying to deflect. Deflection is huge. It doesn't have to be silent, but
Okay, so uh, as you have won multiple awards, and can you tell us the name of the awards and where you have received them?
so I have multiple awards from different festivals. So some of them are best directing, best writing. A lot of my actors and crew members have won awards from shorts. I developed a trailer and won best trailer. I usually find festivals that can show up on IMDb so that way people can see the awards when they look me up on there. But for the most part, I like to just submit to anywhere I can because that means I get an audience. That means people get to watch it. So I'm not too selective, but at the same time I am. When I first started filmmaking, I did not put it into festivals because I knew I was, beginning. And, as I grew as a filmmaker, I started to send stuff out, and then I got better and better, and then started winning. And um, so for me, I feel pretty good on just finding a festival, depending on the short, just finding a festival so I can get an audience. I think that's one of the most important things is to share our experience with people and not just try to get these prestige awards, at these major festivals, which eventually would be great, but you got to start somewhere. And so you develop something that is meaningful, and then you submit it to as many festivals as you can.
So, as we're talking about the festivals, so majorly do the writers, the filmmakers who have just started, so do they feel rejection most of the time, or do they have a quite good comeback?
So it really does depend. I mean, every festival is different, and every festival is looking for something different. Example, I'm not going to put a drama into a horror, film festival. So know your audience when it comes to the festivals. But rejection does happen. I've been rejected quite a bit, and it can sting for the moment, and that's okay. It's okay to let it sting for the moment, but don't have it reflect who you are as a filmmaker. It doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that what you have isn't great. It may just not fit that festival, or you just need to develop more skills. I've seen films, that don't have any camera movement. There's just everything's on a tripod, and they're not getting selected. And it's like, okay, why? Well, because you have to move the camera. You have to really kind of, you know, live in the space, because if we're just seeing everything static, it's not going to come off as a film. It comes off as a conversation. So that's something I learned. And so I started moving the camera more, and then moving the camera more, and moving the camera more. And by doing that, I started realizing that festivals were accepting it. I started writing better stories. At first, when I first started writing, oh my goodness, I found a script I wrote when I was like 19. And I'm like, I cannot show this to anybody because it's so terrible, but that's okay. It's okay to write bad at first. You just develop into something better. And so those are just a few things I've learned when it comes to rejection. Just let it stink for the moment. That's okay. It's very human to do that, but don't let it define you as a filmmaker, as a writer, as an actor, or whatever you do in the field.
In your earlier career, like as you were talking about when you were 19, you wrote a script. So, what kind of stories are you most interesting in that earlier career of yours?
So in my early career, I was interested in the just how it looked. I saw the performances in my head, but I did not know how to properly write it down. So I was writing literally a recipe of do this, do this, do this, do this, and it what I thought then was great, but as I started progressing as a writer, I started realizing that that was not correct. And so then I started writing again, but I started writing like a novel, and I was like, okay, I'm still trying to figure this out. So after many, many, many years of trial and error, I finally found my voice and how I like to write. And um, I know everyone says don't write what you can't see on screen, but it's okay to write emotional behavior that is shown on the screen. And for example, I have a screenplay where someone's in the back of a line and they look over, and instead of you know, uh, saying like it's a long line, I say the next line just says it's pretty far. How far back this person is pretty far. But that still shows uh, the physical aspect of that they're in line, but it also is an introspect of the character, because if they look over and it's pretty far, then they can play off, okay, are they frustrated? Are they patient? What is the case? So I started developing more of my voice based on what's comfortable with me, and not necessarily what the what some script readers will accept. But because I've been doing it for so long, I feel confident in when I submit something that they will enjoy it. There's times I've gotten notes where it just seems like, hey, this seems a little bit on the nose, and I reread it and I go, okay, I can see that. Let me fix it. Even now, when I get feedback, I don't take it personal. I just allow myself to just develop. But the biggest thing I can tell any filmmaker, any writer, and even actors, actresses, the makeup department, whatever, find your voice, find who you are, and develop that inside of you, and have it come out, and have it come out subtextually, have it come out as who you are as an individual. Um, but yeah, that's sorry, I kind of went around a little tangent on that, but I think that that's very important.
I think what a writer or what a filmmaker want to say has a has a great role. Like in the audience, when we get reviews, so not everyone will appreciate, not everyone will agree with the point we are placing by ourselves. So I think that's the point. That's a very great point about it. So I will ask you, do you ever worry about your audience, like they might miss something, or do you trust them completely? When you made a film, you trust your audience that they will, of course, understand that point, but sometimes they miss something, and what you hide in your films.
So this is where your team comes into play. So I get a team together and we go through the whole screenplay and then we figure out, hey, is this confusing? We do this before we shoot because that way there is no confusion. And if there is, maybe it's on purpose. Maybe I'm like, okay, I want to confuse the audience at this point, but maybe at this point it will become clear. The mystery of a story is also important. If we just lay out everything up front, like, hey, this, and this, the rest of the film is going to be boring. So you have to create some kind of mystery and have it be where the character evolves, but also have it where you're not spilling everything up front. I hope that makes sense. Uh, but yeah, I would say um, I trust the audience. I really do. I trust the readers. And if there's something that is off with the reader, then it's going to be off with the audience. So then I look at it subjectively, not personally, subjectively, and try to figure out, okay, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to make this so it's not confusing? Not necessarily better, but not confusing.
So, if I ask about visual languages, like how do you decide what a scene should speak, like visually, instead of verbally?
So every film that I make is different because every film is a different organism, right? So I treat them differently, but it depends really on the scenes and what is needed and what message you're trying to convey. So it's important to know the story to the point where um when you shoot a scene, you can uh determine, right, what needs to be said and what not to be said. Are you still with me? Okay. You were just went really quiet. I just want to make sure you're still there.
Basically, if I ask you, this question is kind of funny because I will ask you that's completely different from the one I have asked. Have you ever had a fight with the your team workers, your teammates, or with the actors to keep the certain moment in a film that you want to be allowed, but not everyone is agreeing on that?
Yeah, so when I first started filmmaking, I thought I was the boss and it had to go my way. And I quickly learned because I got in arguments with people about the vision, but I wasn't being a team player. And I learned hard and fast that you have to be a team player. Um, so I I have gotten arguments, but as I grew as a filmmaker, those stopped. There's times where I'm like, hey, I need this line of dialogue is, said exactly in the script because it's important for me, right? But there's a lot of times where when I sit with an actor or I sit with a DP or a producer or anyone on crew, right? And I say, okay, let's talk about what we're shooting here. And uh, because I am not an expert in everything on film, and there's some directors who are. I'm not. My expertise is in performance, not necessarily on the specs of a camera. So I hire people I trust, and because I trust them, I then see them as key members, and I let go of some of that control, let go of, like, hey, I need uh this or that, and it has to be like this. And there was a time in my early career I needed to shoot through a windshield, and we didn't have the proper equipment, but I kept saying, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. I wasn't thinking like, okay, let's come up with a solution. Let's figure this out. Instead of going through the windshield, maybe we can go through the driver's side window, passenger side window. And that would have been okay. But because I was so key on what I thought, I didn't think of solutions. Now I think of solutions. I come up with solutions fast. There was a short film I filmed last year where we were filming in a bedroom, and just because of the layout or the floor plan, it was not that big of a room. We had to kind of figure stuff out, and I talked to DP, and we're like, okay, instead of doing a 24, let's put it on, a 24 lens, let's put on a 50 lens. That's something I know. I know what it looks like when you put a 50 on, or an 85, or 20, 20 or 24. I know how to look. So we tend to come up with solutions fast, and because time is money, and we have to keep things moving. Especially because we filmed that entire short film in one location in one day. So there was a lot of things that we had to change, but it made the film more interesting, in my opinion, and it made it better. Um, so now I rely on my team, and I give them thanks, and I give them praise. And if I'm submitting to a film festival and I see that they have a category for best cinematography, I'm gonna put it in there for my DP. Or best makeup, same thing. Best hair, same thing. um Even best sound. I want my team to feel recognized, but that I see them as a team player, not just as someone who I can dictate. That's not me as a director anymore. That was me in my early career, my younger 20s. So um, now I really look at everyone equally. Um, even to my actors, like even with actors, we sit down, we go through it, and like I said, there's some times where I need dialogue set a certain way because it's important for me. But most of the time, I'm going to say 98, 99% of the time, we kind of go through it and fix it, and have it sound more natural, and change things up. So that way, A, they show their artistic creative side, and B, it allows me to get the point of the scene across. And so yes, so being a team player is so important, and I will continue to be that team player through the rest of my career.
Okay, so as you have been directed and producing film a lot of the time, so looking back, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, take it easy. Take your time. When I was younger, I was so quick on wanting to make films, and I did not have enough life experience. And, it doesn't mean like because you're young, you don't have experience, but in my life, I did not have enough. So I would tell myself, take it easy, slow down. You're going to get there. You're going to get to the finish line. Everything's going to be okay. And to be a team player, to really recognize, who you want involved in your films. I mean, there's people that I worked with on 3 films, the exact same 3 people, or exact same people on these 3, and it's because we worked well together. But then I also like to look at other people, and go, okay, what can they bring to this story, and how do they bring value? And I look at all that, and I do. And so again, kind of diverging back to your question, I would tell myself to be a team player and to slow down. Take your time, find your voice.
Okay, so as you have made a lot of films, so can you tell us about where we can watch your film, where someone who is watching this podcast can watch your film, can
Yeah.
uh, stream them?
So a lot of my early stuff is archived because it's me as a new filmmaker. I don't want that to define me now as a filmmaker. So some of my older work is archived, but I will make sure that on my link tree in my on my Instagram, I will make sure that I put links to films that are available.
So in the last, that's the last question I will ask you. What advice do you want to give to the young writers, young producers, young filmmaker who are into this, who are new into this?
Sure. Like I said, I was giving advice to my younger self. Take your time, slow down. It's okay to take time with this. Uh, People who paint, people who sculpt, people who draw, they didn't just learn it overnight. It takes time, it takes patience. And while you can be impatient, wanting to really get it done, um, don't sacrifice the story to be rushed. Um, it doesn't matter what role you are in a crew or in front of the camera. Find who you are, find your voice. Don't copy anyone. Don't look at, any directors that you aspire and try and copycat them. Find what you like about it and then put your own spin onto it because that will be your voice. And a lot of times younger younger filmmakers think it's about the concept. It's really not. It's about the story, the human connection, and how you present that. So I always recommend uh, that younger filmmakers find their voice and don't, please don't copycat someone else. I've known filmmakers who try to sound like Quentin Tarantino or Aaron Sorkin. I'm not sure if anyone where you're at knows who those are, but a lot of times here in the States, a lot of filmmakers try to replicate or copycat another filmmaker to sound, you know, uh, like they are Hollywood, ready. And that's the thing is you're not if you copy someone else's voice. So the most important thing is find out who you are as a filmmaker, as a writer, actor, whatever you do, find your voice because you can tell when someone watches a movie, be like, oh, this is totally directed by this person, or this is totally shot by this person. It gives you that distinctive personality into the film industry.
Thank you so much. First of all, you were not feeling well, so thank you for giving us your time, your precious time.
Yeah.
And it was a great conversation with you. So thank you so much for listening to Creative Chaos by Malaika. And if this episode resonate with you, watch it on YouTube, Spotify, and it is available on Amazon Music as well. Thank you so much